So a couple of days ago, I had this idea of building an app where you would actually see a map like this one. You would have an input box like this one. You would enter a word, for example, gato, which means cat in Portuguese. You would press enter, and then you would be able to see the translation of this word over each country in their respective languages, just like you're doing right here. So you see chat in French, sorry, gato in Spanish, cat in English. That was my idea. I had never built an app before, had never implemented anything with Flutter, and yet I was able to get it done in only one day because Flutter is very simple to get started, but not only that, this library Flutter map is actually very easy to get started, and in this video, that's what we're going to be talking about. So without further ado, let's just get started. Alright everyone, so we have here our Flutter app, nothing there, just a blank screen. IntelliJ on the left, they're already connected. This is the iOS simulator. As if you're a Flutter developer, you already know that, of course. Why am I saying this? This is our main, there is nothing here. As you can see, we just have a scaffold, the stack with no children inside. And in the pub spec, we're gonna import some dependencies. The first one is gonna be the Flutter map library. Of course, this is gonna be in version, I think this is, yes, exactly. And also the lat long 2 library, which is necessary for Flutter map to work properly, which is in version 8.0.8.1. And I'm just gonna get this. Okay, I think I already had them, no problem. And the first thing I want to do here is actually display a map. I think that's the simplest thing we can do. In order to do it, I'm just going to pause it here for a little second and show you this. This is an article that I'm writing with basically the same content that you're going to see in this video, but on Medium. So if you prefer to read instead of watch, the link for this article is going to be in the description of this video. Don't forget to check it out. And this is actually the basis for this video. So you're going to be following through this article. All right, so the first thing you're going to be doing is displaying a map. I'm going to get the body here to display a map. I'm going to explain this code in just a little second. Don't worry about it. And let me paste it here. Okay, so we have a body with a stack, and the child of the stack is this widget, a Flutter map. So this Flutter map is a widget that receives 2 different parameters. The first one is a map options, and the second one is a list of layers. And let's reload that application and see what we actually get here. And this is what we actually get. This is already working. We already have a map in our application. This is OpenStreetMaps. All right, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can move around. That's pretty cool, right? Pretty simple. It's already working. This is really nice. But let's go through the code and understand what we did here. In the Flutter map, we have the parameter options, which receives a map options. And this object receives other 2 parameters, right? The center and zoom. The center is an actual lat long object telling us where this map is going to be initialized. And the second parameter is the zoom, right? So if I restart this app right now, you're going to see that the center of it is right here in London, because these are the coordinates for London. And this is the zoom, the default zoom. If I change this to, let's say, 7.2 and save it again and reload the app, we're going to see that the app just started, was just initialized with London is still in the center, but with the zoom very much closer to the land, right? And besides that, our Flutter map also receives children, and these children are the layers of our map. So our map is actually a composition of layers one on the top of each other. And right now we only need one, which is like the base of our map, which is the tile layer. And this tile layer receives a parameter called the URL template. And this URL template, you can see that we're actually getting from OpenStreetMap. But if you pay close attention to these, you're going to see that we're actually getting static images using a template here, right? We're replacing these placeholders, not us. Flutter is, or Flutter map behind the scenes. It's replacing these placeholders with some information. The first one is the zoom that is being applied. The second one is the X coordinate of our map. And the third one is the Y coordinate of our map in the position that we are right now. Just to illustrate this, if you got this URL and actually accessed it, that's what we're going to see. You can see that for this one, we applied a zoom of 6 with the x coordinate as 30 and the y coordinate as 23. And the same thing for the one below, but with the 24. And in these two tiles, we can see the entirety of Portugal and part of Spain, right? And why am I telling you this? Because this is how our maps actually work. If we zoom out and actually move around, you see that as we move, parts of the map are being loaded in real time. And these parts that are being loaded are actual static images that are coming from OpenStreetMap. So you've probably been through this situation where you don't have a really good internet connection and then you're trying to load Google Maps in another country, let's say, and part of the map loads but the other doesn't, and then you have sometimes a blurry image, sometimes you don't have anything. That's why, because while you move your app, you're actually downloading images on demand. And if you don't have internet, or if your internet connection is actually poor, you're not able to do it, and you end up with a map that is kind of broken. And now that you understand how maps basically work, we just came across our next problem, which is for my use case, for the app that I was trying to build, having all this information is actually a problem, right? Because I want to place words on the top of the map, over the map. And if I have all these words around and colors and information, you have the border of the states, you have the border of the countries, you have the name of the countries, the capitals. And as you zoom in, you get more information, cities, roads, rivers. All this information is actually irrelevant for me. I don't need it, right? But I have a problem because these images are actually static. There's no way I can tell OpenStreetMap with this implementation that I don't want to receive this information. It's just feeding me with images that are static. So these labels are in the images itself. And well, it doesn't help me with my problem. And with a few Google searches, you can find other tile server URLs, tile server providers like this one. A few of them are paid, a few of them are free. And I came across a really good one, or one that I really liked, which was those provided by Stamen, I don't know how to pronounce this word, but they provide 3 different designs for maps. The first one is toner, terrain, and watercolor. Toner for me was exactly what I was looking for, because as you can see, it's very simple. I don't have too much information here. Actually, I still have the labels in this one, but if you look closer, you can see that they offer 6 different flavors, and one of them is this one called Toner Background. And if you open this, you see that you have only the map here without any information besides the border of the countries. And in the United States, you also have the border of the states, but it's not that relevant for me. So this is actually the closest I could get to something free that would solve my problem, so I decided to use this one. So let's get the URL for this template, which is this one that is already in my article. And I'm going to replace this one, and let's see what's happened. So I'm replacing this URL, and I'm going to reload the app. And what we're going to see here is that this new design is being loaded. It's coming directly from Stamen. They are feeding us with these static images from their side, right? Which is pretty nice. And that's pretty cool. Let's just stop for a second and actually contemplate what we've done and understand where we at and where we want to get. Because as you remember, what I'm trying to do here is build an app that I can place objects or things or stuff or anything else over it on specific coordinates, right? So what I have to do is place words on this map on specific coordinates, let's say in the center of a country or in the center of a continent or anywhere else in the world, right? And in order to do it, Flutter Map, the library, also provides what they call layers. And this is one of them. This is the tile layer, so it's the basis, right? But you can add others on top of it, as we were talking before. And the first one we're going to look at is the polygon layer. So let me copy this code here. And once again, I'm going to go through it, so you don't need to worry that I'm going too fast. Perhaps I'm going too fast, but you can check on YouTube to make it slower or faster. You have this option on the player of YouTube. Anyway, so this is the polygon layer, and the polygon layer is used for drawing polygons over your map at specific positions. These are the vertices of your polygon. Here I'm building a square, as you can see, right? But before I go through the vertices, let's take a step back and look at the polygon layer, which receives a parameter called polygons, which in this case receives a list of polygon objects. And this polygon objects receives a series of points to build or to draw our polygon. In this case, we're drawing a square. That's why we have 4 vertices here. And we're also saying, okay, this is the color of our square. It's going to be blue with an opacity of 1/2. And it's going to have a border stroke whose width is 2. And the border color is going to be blue as well. And yes, it's going to be filled. Right, so let me save this and let's see what happens. Okay, so you can see that we actually built a square over Portugal here. And this is transparent. Let me put it back here. Okay, and this is transparent because I set the opacity here as 0.5. If I had not set this thing and just save it again, you're gonna see that it's opaque square right there, a blue opaque square. Let me get back here, put the opacity back, and perhaps I don't even need a border color. And let me get rid of this as well. Okay, and now I just have a square, a transparent square or a semi-transparent square. It doesn't matter, but that's what a polygon is for. Let's say that I wanted to have one more point here, one more coordinate here. I could put, I don't know, let's see what happens if I put 35. You can see that now we have 5 vertices in this polygon, and this is actually nice. That would take a lot of effort and a lot of points, but what you could do is actually go around the whole border of the country and only fill the country. That's very useful depending on your use case. And yes, I'm not really sure how you can find this coordinates, but if you ask ChatGPT, for example, he can help you with that, like get me the coordinates for filling Portugal. It's gonna help you with that, I'm sure, because I've done something similar to at least get the coordinates of each country. All right, now that we've seen how the polygon layer works, let's go to the next one, which is the polyline layer. And the polyline layer is actually to build lines or to draw lines in our map. Okay, so you can see that in this case, this polyline layer receives a list of polylines again, and these polylines are very similar to the polygons, but it's just a line, right? And you can see that it's connecting 3 different places here. So it's coming out from Lisbon, passing through London, and finally arriving in Amsterdam. So it's connecting these 3 capitals. You can see here we also have the color, so we can change it, I don't know, to yellow, and let me save it. And also the width, let's make it very thick. I don't know, 5, that's not very thick, perhaps 50. Yeah, now that's pretty thick. Nice. And okay, it gets thicker as I zoom out. That's interesting. But this is the polyline that's useful if you want to trace routes, let's say, for example, or just lines or anything else you may think of, right? Let's go to the next layer now. And the next layer is the circle layer. And let me copy this. This is very similar to the polygon, but instead of being a polygon, it's a layer, it's a circle, I mean. All right, so in this case, I'm living in an area here in the Netherlands called Tijoy, and what I did here was basically putting a circle over this area in the map. You can see that the point is where the center of the circle is going to be at. The radius is the size of the circle. In this case, I'm saying I want this radius in meters, and that's what it's doing. So 5 kilometers. This is a circle of 5 kilometers, and the color of the circle is red, and the border of the circle is red, and the stroke width is 2. Again, I can make it thicker or thinner, and that's what it looks like. And yes, I'm pretty sure you can think about a lot of use cases that you can use it, so I'm not going to go there. And the following one, and the one that is actually the most important for my use case, is the one that is the marker layer, that basically allows me to place anything over my map. So let me place this here. And what it is doing here right now is basically placing the Flutter logo over London. So you can see that this marker layer receives a list of markers, and this marker specifically is set over London again, and it has a width of 80 × 80, and it's basically the Flutter logo, right? But I could have something else here, and this is important because this is the layer that I need for building my app, because I want to be able to place words, and these words are actually gonna be widgets, right? And with this layer, you can place any widget on the top of your map or over your map. And let's see how we can do it. And I actually left everything already done here, so we could just copy and paste. So I'm gonna get this function that is gonna return a text style. I'm gonna paste it here so you can see that this returns a text style whose font size is 12. Let's make it a little bit bigger, 15, and the background color is black and the color of the font is white. And after that, I'm gonna get this other function that returns a container. And I'm gonna explain after I show you this working why I placed this inside a container, because you can see that this container receives a text as a child, right? Which is actually receiving the word that is gonna be placed over our map on the countries, in the countries, or over the countries. That's difficult when English is not your your native language. I never know which prepositions to use, but yeah, never mind. Text align, it's gonna be centered, and the style is gonna be the style that is being returned by this other function. And now that we have this, let's continue and let's get the function that is actually build our marker using this build text widget function. And let me just place it here, build marker, so you can see that it's building a point using these coordinates. Sorry, it's building a marker using these coordinates as the point, with a width of 100 something, with a height of 12, and with the build text widget function being returned as the widget that's going to be placed over the map. And now that we have this, all we have to do is replace here with this function here that is going to receive coordinates in the word, right? So I already have some examples here. So this is calling this function that we just implemented. Let me replace this here. All right, so we have five different markers here, and we're basically calling the build marker function, which is this one, with the coordinates of each country, so Portugal, England, France, the Netherlands, and Germany, and then with the word that is the translation of love in the language of each of these countries. Let me save this so we can actually see what is happening here. So you can see right now that there is a problem. These words, they're cut, and this is because this marker is shorter than the actual font size, because the font size is 15, but the marker is 12. So let's change it to 15 as well, and now we can see the whole word being placed over the map, over the countries here. And then you can see also that we have multiple markers over our country. So in Portugal, amor; in France, aimer, or I don't know how to pronounce it, love in English. I don't know how to pronounce that in Dutch yet because I'm learning, but yeah, liefde, I don't know, and lieb in German. I'm not sure if this is correct, but who cares, right? And yes, that's basically it. We have a map. We have an app that is displaying a map. And on this map, we place the stuff, in this case, words. You could place anything, pains, or anything else. There are things that we still need to do here to achieve the same thing that I achieved on my own application, which is, for example, when I zoom in and out here, you can see that the size of the words are always the same. And if I zoom out too much, you see that they overlay each other. And that's something that I overcame, or I solved in my own application. So when I zoom in and out, you can see that the words are actually getting bigger, increasing in size or decreasing in size according to the zoom. And I also placed other things like the flag next to the word. And of course, in my application, it's not static, it's working as expected. So it's connecting to Google Translator and actually translating the words and placing them over the countries in the map. And I also have the input box, but all of this can be the subject of the next video if you enjoyed this one. So if you enjoyed this one and you want to see more videos like this, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, to leave a comment in the comment section, to like this video. And my name is Rafael Delio and I'm a software developer, and in this channel that's it. See you around.